Dua Lipa is our guest right here at home with Apple Music, and the playlist of just, like I said, just groove peppered and dressed in all kinds of different ways.
It's got a little bit of everything.
But
a little bit of everything.
Like there's so much groove. And, when you think about, a producer, someone who, Calvin Harris, stepping out in his Love Regenerator environment. But, what have you what does that collaboration teach you? What do you pick up from that?
For a song like that, and Calvin going from Calvin Harris, obviously he's still Calvin Harris, but to Love Regenerator, maybe that's also like separating from the ego and wanting just to make music for the fun of it because that's just what he loves doing so much. And I think with a song like that, with Steve Lacy, it's an instant feel-good track. It makes you so happy, it makes you want to dance. And I think that was kind of his main goal. Obviously, I can't speak for him. But I think that's kind of what I get from it. It's just wanting to put music out without kind of, I don't know, maybe the expectation of people being like, oh, it's a new Calvin Harris track. It's just like a really amazing, massive song.
Can you see yourself, in the future experimenting even more with the idea of what identity means to you? Because, you're established now as Dua Lipa, the human and the artist. But to your point, what Calvin's done there and what great artists have done is like, where does the alter ego fit into that? And how can I play around with that in a way that perhaps even with the freedom I have as Dua Lipa, it's going to create too much expectation and I need that freedom to explore?
I think musical identity, evolves all the time. And I think, as an artist, you don't really want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. You want to find something that you love, obviously, and if you love it, you should keep doing. But I do feel like experimenting is always good. And even if it's rubbish, if you love it, like put it out, you'll grow from it, I feel like every experience and every song and every, whatever you do, not even just in music, I feel like it's always just like a baby step to where you want to be or discovering yourself even further. So
I want to get straight to Amine, who to me is this really unique sort of, charming is the word that always springs to mind whenever I speak to Amine. I'm always like, man, dude's got charm. But, coming from Portland, so he's coming from a space which only until recently wasn't really considered to be a hotspot for music, certainly in terms of hip hop and R&B, it is now, and kind of really kicked in some doors, a great young artist. Why have you put Amine on the list and what do you appreciate about him?
So I know Amine from actually quite a while ago. He, when I had a song called Be The One, which was one of like the first songs that I put out from my first record, he did a remix for it. And he was just like up and coming. I got, it was a friend of mine in London was like, you need to check this guy out. Like he's amazing. And reached out and we did Be The One together. And that was a really fun and cool experience. And it was, I guess it's just always what I've loved is seeing artists just grow and flourish and, become the artists that they were always, destined and meant to be. And I think Amine's trajectory has been so interesting. I feel like I've loved seeing him grow and watch the videos. And, Caroline was like one of my favorite tunes.
Smasher.
It was amazing.
Smasher.
So good.
Gone
and
still.
Then to see him like come back with an even bigger and stronger next record was really encouraging and really inspiring.
You hear it in an artist like Arlo Parks. This music, this poetry that she's written, which just covers so much incredible ground, is so personal and yet so instantly applicable to your life. It's the magic act. And the song Eugene, her album Collapse and Sunbeams is stunning. How did you discover Arlo and what were your first impressions from musician to musician? I
discovered Arlo on Radio 1. I was just driving in London and I just put the radio on and I heard her voice and immediately I was like really taken by it and I loved the storytelling in her music and I just immediately like Shazammed the song and I found out the artist and then I kind of went through her discography and I just loved it. I think it was, I thought it was so cool and really British also and I was just immediately attracted to her voice and I wanted to like listen to more and I loved it.
She's amazing. The album start to finish is incredible. Song Black Dog is like one of the most beautifully constructed interpretations of what it is to have an anxiety attack I've heard. And to come from a new artist just blows my mind when I hear it. It absolutely blows my mind. Gwen Stefani, icon time, Dua. Icon.
Always.
Icon. And you know, somebody now that you can count as collaborator as well, which must be really cool to think about that moment that you share, that space you share with Mark at the helm must be just a great feeling when you hear it. How was it when you heard that back the first time, when you got the mix?
Honestly, I couldn't believe it. I sat by my phone and I was literally holding my face pretty much. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. I was just like pacing around the room. It was surreal, exciting moment.
It's like you got it in your phone. It's like, no one can take this away from me. She's on this song. Holy shit.
But and the way it happened was so cool because we basically contacted Gwen and her team to try and clear the sample for Holla Back Girl for Club Future Nostalgia. And I was like, you know, maybe we should just like put a feeler out, see if she wants to, you know, do something. And she loved Mark Ronson's remix of Physical. And she was like, you know, I'd love to jump on this. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. This is surreal.
I think when you get to that point in your career where you're able to invite yourself to the wedding with little or no guilt whatsoever, you've established yourself. Like for Gwen to say, can I jump on this and have no qualms about it whatsoever? You know you're there.
It was just so exciting. It was such an exciting period, especially because it was like that period of lockdown and the whole project came together because of everyone being at home. But it just made lockdown so exciting. I was just dancing around the house, listening to songs that I guess I had known for so long that felt so new to me. So I was really just like rediscovering the music in itself in a different way. And it was an incredible experience.
One artist continually shows up on these playlist shows. We've done so many amazing conversations that weave through the music selections of some of the world's most exciting artists, and yet there's a constant that always shows up, and that's Lauryn. Lauryn Hill, with really one singular solo album was all she needed to do. But thankfully there was Fugees and there's acoustic performance albums. There's all kinds of things you can touch on. But that Miseducation record, try and paint a picture for us about what that meant to you as a kid, you know, growing up and just discovering that.
You know, Lauryn Hill was an artist that my parents loved so much. So her record was, you know, always played at home. And I knew those songs before I, knew who she was or was able to, like, dive into the whole... Like, I remember being in the car and just singing, like, the Fugees' Ready or Not. And it's just, that was always just something that I would sing, but not really know who the artist was or where it came from. It would just constantly be playing. And it's interesting and it's very unique for an album to soundtrack your life, you know, but be so timeless. And every time you hear it, it feels like the first time. And that's how I feel about the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I really honestly feel like every time I listen to it, you hear it something different and it touches you in a different way and it meets you at a different point in your life. And it's, you know, if anyone was to have made one album and that be it, that's it. You know, that's the pinnacle.
Oh man, we're running out of time right now, which is a shame because there's so much more music we could talk about, and there's great records on here. Let's talk about Tame Impala for a second, and the incredible Kevin Parker. You know, somebody who, you know, has moved closer and closer to the dance floor himself. Again, there are parallels there. The more that he's gone forward, the more he's found himself wanting to dance. You've chosen this particular song, "Lost in Yesterday," from the Slow Rush. Love this album. Have it on every format. So let's talk about why you picked it and what you love about it.
Love Kevin Parker. Love Tame Impala. I think it's just I'm just such a fan. You know, Currents is probably one of my all-time favorite records, and it's always exciting for me, you know, to just see what an artist does next, and you know, the music and how they progress, but at the same time keeping what's so true and authentic to them. You know, nothing and no one can really replicate Tame Impala, and immediately when somebody tries to, you're like, okay, I know where the influence came from. You know, it's something very unique. And I think that's also very rare to have something so distinct. And I guess, you know, his voice, but the sounds and the production and everything that goes with it. It's amazing. And I'm sure you've spoken to him a bunch of times, but I met him one time when I was supporting Bruno Mars in Australia. just so nice as well. And I think I really love to support really nice people as well. I love to know what they're up to and what they're doing.
Well, it's been great to connect with you and see you again.
Thank you, Zane. Always a pleasure.